Hi, welcome into Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears. We are so glad to be here. How is it February already? That's what we're asking. Obviously, life's been crazy for us and our travels, but we're so excited to be here tonight chatting all things Disney and Universal. We have a ton to discuss. Um, if you're here, please give us the thumbs up. Let us know. Feel free to comment throughout. And as always, we appreciate you liking our posts and also sharing that out with family and friends. Jennifer is in the midst of sharing that out with our groups. Christy is here as well. So if you have, again, as we're chatting, if you have comments or questions, we are so glad to be here. We are all agents of Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travel. And we can't wait to we'll try to jam it into an hour. There is a lot to talk about. We haven't been together
There is so much. There really is. There really is.
We'll probably go high level or attempt to on a number of things and then get into more things the next time we chat. But if you're not part of our Facebook group, please find that Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears. We have a business page and a group where you can search and find a ton of information, as well as our YouTube channel, which has resort videos and park videos. And if you are following, we also got to vicariously live through Jennifer's trip to Disneyland. So every Friday, new videos popping up as well. So a great escape, especially in the winter months too. So
yeah, it was a whirlwind going to Disney World and then going to Disneyland and the time changes and everything that we tried to do in that time, but I wouldn't have changed any of it for a second. I got to connect with some wonderful friends that I haven't seen in a very, very long time, together as groups. And I was the only one who didn't have a 3-year-old in the party. So you'd think I would be more rested or whatever, but no, they had me beat. It's been a long time since I've done Disney with 3-year-olds. And so it was just a ton of fun. The kids were a blast. Like I miss, and that, like 3-year-olds, 7-year-olds, I miss that age because they're just so much fun and so excited about everything and up and moving and going and running. And so, it was an absolute blast when I was at Disney World. And then, of course, went to Disneyland, was there for the start of the Disney 100 celebration, which was just wonderful. So I love Disneyland. I don't go enough. I've made a resolve to go more often because it's fantastic.
Well, that was part of my Facebook memories from 11 years ago. I was there. So that popped up today. Yeah.
Those Facebook memories, you gotta watch out for those. We were at Disney World a year ago today, just the hubby and I, and it was such the most laid back trip. I'd had COVID a couple of weeks before and was still like super exhausted from that. And we just enjoyed Coronado Springs. We had a standard view in the tower with the fireworks at Epcot. I could sit in our bed and see the fireworks. It was just amazing. So gotta watch out for those memories. But I love Disneyland. I'm so excited about the 100th celebration, kicking off while you were there. It was so great to get to live vicariously through you. And now watching the videos, I know World of Color is already up. I think I've watched it at least 3 times.
I have it on repeat. I don't know. My husband and my oldest daughter, Wondrous Journeys. They love the Disneyland fireworks and projection show, which is wonderful. But for some reason, the music, the World of Color 1 music just gets me. I think it's fantastic. I listen to it over and over again. It doesn't get old. And so I really hope I get to go back to see it in person again. And I have to admit, World of Color in the past has been fine. It's not my favorite. I'm a fireworks person, but I loved this show. I thought it was just wonderful. And, I hadn't been back to Disney California Adventure Park since Avengers Campus went in. Avengers Campus, I apologize to all you Bugs Land fans who really miss Bugs Land, but Avengers Campus is wonderful.
It's so
just the
cool.
Atmosphere, the characters. Disneyland and Disney World are so different. So
I was going to say, well, I just to pause you there for people who haven't been to Disneyland, or maybe, we say World of Color, and obviously we know all these things, but maybe, and we've talked about it. Again, if you've followed us at all, Disneyland is very different for many reasons, but talk about World of Color. And I love how close you can get.
Right. Yeah, well, World of Color is a water projection show that also has fire. It doesn't, usually have fireworks. And so, but it's just this amazing show. And it's not just water projection, because then it also, if you've seen any video or pictures of it, you've got the Ferris wheel, the Mickey Ferris wheel. So there's special lighting on that. And then what used to be California Screamin', which is now the Incredicoaster, has lights on it as well. And so you're looking at a whole facade of, all of these lights, this water projection, and then, sometimes fire and music. And they do such an amazing job with it that I really wish they would pull some of these aspects into Epcot. I mean, I love Epcot. They have this huge lagoon. There are things they could do with it, but I think maybe just the fact that it's a shallower body of water, the fact that they have all of that built under there that can come up for all of this amazing, this water projection. And it seems so much clearer to me than Fantasmic. So if you're familiar with Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios, that's got a lot of water projection as well. It is wonderful, but World of Color is just different, and it's so clear and amazing. But Disneyland, so Disneyland Park, Disney California Adventure Park, they tend to be more local as parks, and so they switch things up a little bit more frequently. And so the shows are a little bit different. I mean, they want to stay fresh. For locals, Disney World themes seem to stick around longer. But the World of Color show at Disney California Adventure Park right now, this World of Color 1 totally has my heart. I love it. I want to see it again. And I mean, Disney California Adventure Park has always been on my list, parks that I love. It's, kind of the top. And I think, Epcot, California Adventure, and Disneyland Paris are my top 3 favorite parks of all of the Disney parks. So, I mean, there's just something about them. They're all so special. And I'm sorry, Disneyland Park. Disneyland is cute, and it's got its own cute little stuff.
It is cute. I think that's a good word for it. And I think the word cute is because of their castle. For those that have never been to Disneyland but have been to Disney World, right? You make that turn on Main Street, USA, and you see Cinderella's castle, and you're no matter how old you are, right? Your jaw just drops open, and you are just like, oh my gosh. Well, when you make that turn at Disneyland and you see, and having grown up and only been at Disneyland a couple of times, still I make that turn and I go, where's the rest of it?
I mean, it's probably twice as tall as me, but it's more, it's
gorgeous. And especially now it's specially decorated for the 100th.
Right.
So it is absolutely beautiful, and it is beautiful in its own way on its own. Before that, it's just, when you compare the two, which you should never compare anyway, it's just a little castle. Right. So my youngest daughter, in fact, did a TikTok that was basically where's the rest of it, kind of thing. But I do think when you stand in Disneyland, you do have that feeling of it being the original, though, even with so many changes since it did open. But you do have that feeling, where I feel like over at California Adventure, especially with the new Avengers campus, which is absolutely amazing. Speaking of turning a corner and seeing the Quinjet sitting there, I was just
right.
Yeah. So I think they should have totally made that into a ride, but it just feels so fresh, so new, and you said, so many updated things, especially on that side of the park, that it feels very different from any other park.
And they're able to do things differently with characters. And so since it is a more locals park, it is more common for characters just to walk through. But the fact that this is happening with face characters in Avengers Campus, I mean, you see Peter Quill, you're seeing, Thor and Doctor Strange, and I mean, the talent is incredible.
Yeah.
So,
We
I mean,
kept
these
saying it
people
was
are
so
there. It's
random.
Spider-Man, and we're just walking
Yeah.
through.
Right. We happened to be at California Adventure, and my younger daughter went and rode in Cretacoaster again. And my older daughter and I were just taking pictures and wandering around in Cretacoaster. And all of a sudden I turn around and Bo Peep's like right there. Like, no, just wander in the park,
Mhm.
and we did that at Disneyland, came across Belle just standing there, kind of thing. So we kept saying it's just so random, but in like the best way, because
Right.
when you're used to Disney World and like checking the times guide, and they have some of that, right?
Right.
But often you just kind of stumble across them, and it makes it more exciting to just all of a sudden see a character, like right there. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Just different.
It's a different world. And I've loved Cars Land since the moment I set, eyes on it the first time. I thought, this is gorgeous. So well done. It's still there. It's still perfect, and then we've got a Monsters Inc. ride, and Monsters Inc. is my favorite. Like, I've got Sully stuffed animals still, and Sully pillow pet. Remember pillow pets? My daughter has since stolen, but it's mine. So the fact they have a Monsters Inc. ride, but then when you enter into Disney California Adventure Park, it's just like this 1920s vibe, Art Deco look. So I love the vibe of the whole park entering in, and then you've got Cars Land, Adventures Campus, Pixar Pier. It's what's not to love? It's wonderful.
Especially
So
how
again,
close everything is.
mhm.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, I mean, tell everyone you planned this trip not knowing that
No, yeah. So we
And
booked it
so-
because it worked. It worked in the schedule. My kids are in high school. They don't get a lot of days off. We had to get back because California, was shut down longer than lots of other states. Disneyland was closed a lot longer. We didn't get back to Disneyland in 2022. We were supposed to be there shortly after the pandemic started. Everything, just like Disneyland Paris, we're supposed to be there right after the pandemic started. So we're heading back there finally, but we had to get back. And this was the first available weekend I could find on the school calendar. My kids are in high school and it's impossible to pull them out anymore. And so I'm like, this is perfect. We're going to go this weekend. We've got it booked, scheduled, whatever. And then it became the start of the 100th celebration. It was perfect. We're staying at the Grand Californian, which has my heart already.
All
but
right.
I don't know. I mean, I love the Disneyland Hotel. There's just something amazing about the property. It's a gorgeous property. But, I stayed the California Adventure for 5 nights this time. It's the longest trip I've had to Disneyland so far. Rolling out of bed, heading right into the parks, empty parks, 7:30 in the morning for the 30-minute early entry, doing 2 or 3 rides, getting in line for one more thing, wandering around for a couple of hours, heading back.
Talk about that, because I think until you go to Disneyland, like when you realize like you are literally right there. If you stay at a Disney property or even ones close by that we can book, I mean, you are literally right there.
Yeah. I mean, well, so if you're a Disney World regular, you realize that Disney World property is huge. It's the size of San Francisco. It's a city. Disneyland has a very small footprint. These 2 parks, are within, I don't even know, several feet of each other. So the entrances are right across the way. And then, for most, you will go through security and enter into downtown Disney, the downtown Disney area. And then much like if you're used to Universal Orlando, where you go through security, you enter into City Walk, and then you're able to just get into the parks. You've already gone through security. It's right there. That's how Disneyland is. So if you're a Disneyland regular, you know this, and Disney World feels huge to you. But staying at the Grand Californian, there's a private entrance directly into, Disney California Adventure Park, kind of like at one of the sides of the park near Grizzly River Run, near Soarin'. And that's only for folks who are staying at the Grand Californian. You have to have your room key. So even if you're there for some reason, they don't let you in during early entry unless you have your room key. But then there's also a private entrance into Disneyland, which, sort of in the middle of Disneyland, very wonderfully right next to Starbucks. So learn some tricks with Starbucks this time too. But you're right there. So Downtown Disney opened at 7:00 in the morning. The parks opened for early entry at 7:30. They opened to the general public at 8. But we would be in line, and we weren't always the first. We weren't ever the first in line. We weren't in like a real hurry to get to the parks, but we'd get in line around 7:30ish, probably get in around 7:45 because we were waiting behind plenty of people. Get 2 or 3 attractions done already. I mean, you figure the parks are open 30 minutes early for people who are staying at 3 resorts. There's no one there. You walk right in. You walk right on. It's wonderful. And you're watching all these poor suckers. No, just joking. The people staying at different resorts. They let you into the park, and then have like the rope drop, like you're familiar with. So you scan in, you're already into the park, but then they don't start the rope drop until the announcement is complete, right at 8:00 in the morning or whatever the post park opening time is. But in California Adventure Park, it was so nice because we were able to, and Disneyland too, but we were able to get in, do a couple of rides, and then pretty much get right in line for Radiator Springs Racers that didn't open at 8. But we were all at the front of the line. And then folks who were staying off property, were still walking quickly to get there at 8:00 in the morning, but we were there. So we pretty much walked onto that too. And so that was really wonderful. The same thing happened in Disneyland. We were going straight to Haunted Mansion, because Haunted Mansion still had the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, which is normally done before then, but luckily they kept it a little bit longer for the start of the 100th. And I'd never seen that. It's ridiculous.
It is so cool. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I would go back just to see that. But yeah, the early entry, the 30 minutes, you think, what can I do with 30 minutes? You can do a ton in 30 minutes.
Yeah, especially if what you're wanting to do is towards the back of the park.
Right.
Like you said, with Radiator Springs, just the ability to get in line as it's opening with the park, you were already in line as it was opening, so I think so. Another thing for California, Grand California, excuse me, they have a viewing area for that. You literally feel like you're standing over California Adventure. And we actually watched, since we were there in September, it was still the World of Color show. And you can see it from there. Now it's not, like you're standing in front of it. Of course, you are a distance from it. But since we'd already seen it, it was our first night. Everybody was just absolutely exhausted. We watched it from there and it was great. But like, you literally felt like, if I take a penny and drop it, I'm going to drop it on somebody in the park, like it's right there. And that's because the resort is right there, that your secret entrance into, the California Adventure Park is right there. Like you walk through it and you're in the park. It's crazy how close it is. And then let alone that you can walk from one theme park to the other in a couple of minutes on a slow pace. If you're walking at a fast pace, like you're there,
right there
so fast. It's so different. So, people that are one or the other, like the differences with that alone is just crazy.
Well, I think that's a great point. I think when we talk about it, because I think, if we price things for our clients, and again, everything you reach out to us about is free. Our vacation planning is free. So again, we're agents of Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travel, and we're helping you really find the best fit for you. There's a lot. It's overwhelming. We can probably tell you, for me at least, 8 out of 10 clients find me because they said we tried on our own. And it just, where do you start? Yeah, so when we talk about Disney World, we talk about Beach Club being the closest, and that's walking distance. This does not compare. Disneyland is so different. I mean, literally, you could fall. You'd be in there. It's just, again, and so you look at that map and see. So, like, if we're saying you're standing up there looking at the fireworks, I mean, you're literally right there. So it's a different experience. That's why we talk about it, that it's great for young families or your first time. And there is something that's just historical about it. And I love, Jennifer, that while you were there, I mean, this is so you. You're just there and you catch the Lunar New Year parade. Of course you do.
I know. I was trying to and just couldn't. And all of a sudden, accidentally, I was like, "This is perfect." But Yeah, because I mean, you've got Mulan and Mushu and just this amazing cultural experience happening at Disney California Adventure Park. And of course, like every Disney festival, they also have all of these amazing food kiosks, because who doesn't love a food kiosk? And so that was incredible. And I mean, the thing is, it's just such a short festival. It's only January 20th through February 15th. So it's not even a full month. And that's great. I mean, again, that works really well for Disneyland, but what an incredible celebration. It's just so nice to see this, type of thing at Disneyland. And so I love this time of year. I thought it was great. It was chilly. I'm from Minnesota. And so it was below zero here, literally like a high of -5. Someone said one day, and I'm like, okay, well, it's 55 degrees here. And I'm wearing my jacket and I'm comfortable. So
Yeah.
And the weather was up and down. Some of it was very
happy.
swimmable. Some of it was not. Like it was in the 70s some days, and then it was colder some days. But I do want to mention one interesting thing I found out was that, I did my best to to just experience everything I could from the different resorts, all the new things since I'd been there last. And the private walkway over from currently the Paradise Pier Hotel, which is undergoing renovation, to the Pixar Place Hotel, it's right along Disney California Adventure Park and the Grand Californian. So it's right in between those two. And, I was just walking around, because if you're in the park and you don't realize that this is here, you're never going to notice it. It's just, it's tucked back. You don't realize it's there. It's right into, it's right by, all of the Pixar stuff. So it's right by the Pixar rides. And so I was just kind of looking at it and looking at the Grand Californian, and I finally found the entrance. It took me a little bit, walked up to it and said, I'm staying at the Grand Californian. Can I exit there? And they said, yeah, no problem. And there's literally a door maybe 20 steps away to get into the Grand Californian. So if I'm not walking all the way around, which isn't far at all, to, Soarin' and Grizzly River Run, and where my room was located, which was on that part, it was closer. Then I said, can I enter here? And they said, well, the 30 minutes early entry is specifically for Paradise Pier / Pixar Place. So the early entry is specifically for them, but rest of the day, no problem.
Mm-hmm. And it's right below.
You don't even know it's there.
Yeah, right. It's right below that viewing deck.
Totally right below the viewing deck.
So we saw people coming out because we got out to the viewing deck a bit early, right? Because I wanted to take pictures, look around and stuff like that. And we're like, are there people walking out there? So of course we went and investigated the next day as we left, and actually found from in the park out as I was looking for the Donald zipper. So but of course I had to have. Yeah. So we stumbled across it because it's so hidden back there that if you don't know that it's there, you wouldn't. But it is perfect for Paradise Pier, soon to be Pixar Place, which I'm so excited for the transition to. It will definitely be our next family time out there, because my youngest, Pixar everything is his favorite. So super excited for that refurbishment.
I know. And the staff are so excited about it. It's rough right now.
Yeah.
It just is. And it's great because they will shuttle you over to the pool at Disneyland Hotel. So you're staying at, Paradise Pier. You've got resources, but they're not right there. And there are several restaurants in downtown Disney. There's a QR code. You can order food. They'll deliver it to you to any of those 3 hotels, actually. So it's really wonderful to have all of those food options available. But I feel like Paradise Pier is just rough right now. And when it's Pixar Place, it's going to be amazing. But no going in probably for the rest of this year. It's still not quite going to be there just yet. So,
but it's definitely much needed refurbishment. Plus, it's going to be amazing when it's done. But definitely a much needed update. It just didn't. It's the one of the 3 that just didn't have a Disney feel to it. Really ever. It had little things here and there, but just didn't feel Disney, at all. So it definitely will, by the time that they're it's completed though.
Right. And hopefully by Friday, I'll have a video uploaded of a walk around the Grand Californian. YouTube and my videos have not been functioning incredibly well, but I'm about 25% downloaded right now. So by Friday, we should be good to go. But I did, I walked around, was having some trouble with my gimbal and, the internet service. And so I wanted to live stream, couldn't live stream. And so, I got the video though. So it's there, it'll be uploaded, hopefully we'll see that on Friday. So can't wait to share more about.
We should mention that the 100th, the company's 100th celebration is going on through the rest of the year. So if Disneyland is on your plans for this year, then you'll get to partake in the special things that they've got going on there. And they say more to come still throughout the year. So
great. And I guess one more comment about Southern California versus Florida. I talked to a lot of families who want to do Disney over Florida, but they don't resonate with the heat that Florida has. And it's still warm in Southern California, but it's a rare day when it's anything like summer in Florida. I don't mind summer in Florida. I like the heat. If it's 100 heat index, I'm fine. That's my ideal, pool weather. I love it. That's not most of the people surrounding me. Southern California is beautiful and wonderful. It's a great time to visit.
No.
So, Catherine, you don't like
since I live where that is the weather most of the time, not
I
west.
think it's all where you grow up. I mean, I grew up outside of Portland, Maine. So, I think we had humidity times.
I think that just made me want to leave that weather since I grew up with, Central Illinois,
It's what you get used to. I always
bipolar.
Yeah.
It just made me want to leave it, which obviously we did. And now typically, it's hot and humid here in Houston, Texas, but not last week. I won't complain. You guys' weather was colder and we didn't have any ice and snow like a lot of Texas did.
Right.
I was cold and it was rainy and yucky. So I'm like, well, it was 70 today. So
and here's what I'll say too. I think if, we talked to a lot of families who maybe this is their first trip, this is what they're thinking about. And the advantage to Disneyland, and we promise we're going to move on to a few other things to talk about as well, is you can do a lot of other things too. I mean, because of its location, you can extend that trip. You can do a lot of other maybe amusement parks or different sites. So that's a nice thing. Go to the beach, if that's something that's appealing that maybe you're thinking, okay, I can only do a day or two. Okay, you can do that and really enjoy yourself and then maybe add some other things on. So
or if you only have a long weekend.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You have a long weekend. You want to leave Friday, come back Monday and feel like you did something. I think Disneyland is perfect for that. Disney World is really hard. It takes longer to get around. You're going to miss a lot and feel like you missed a lot, I think. And that's not the case for Disneyland. So I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Oh, but I love it.
If you're thinking about it or just want to compare pricing or things like that, we're here. You can reach out to us in the comments or through any of our channels. We'd be happy to chat with you too.
And I guess one more comment too about pricing. So there are a lot more good neighbor hotels that are close. And so if you're looking to do something on a real budget, I think that's a lot more possible at Disneyland, especially with the potential of doing a shorter trip than at Disney World. I have expensive taste. I love the Grand Californian, but I've done budget trips too. And it's just really nice to be able to be in a Fairfield Inn, 5-10 minute walk away from the park entrances. You are right there. You might not get early entry, but you are within your budget. You're able to have a great time. You're easy walking distance back and forth. The food options, obviously, once you leave the parks are a little bit less expensive. There's a Panera, there's a McDonald's, there's an IHOP, like really reasonably priced places right outside the gates, easy walking distance. So you can do, I think, a more affordable trip to Disneyland than Disney World as well. And I love Disney World. It has my heart. I love my Disney food. I will spend oodles and oodles of money on it. But sometimes you just don't have that. And so Disneyland, I think, is a really nice option there too.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So we have been talking about Tron coming for literally ever and a day, right? And And the day is quickly coming. We are now under 2 months to its opening on April 4th.
4th, yeah.
Yeah.
So
4th.
far, yeah.
Yeah, and cast members have started their previews as of 2 days ago. My daughter has hers next Tuesday, or my daughters are going next Tuesday. So I'm excited to hear what they think. Of course, our Mickey Travels owners went last night on it and sounds like it was great. I'm excited to check it out myself. I'm trying to figure out if I can get a crazy trip in there for a couple of days for opening. So it's almost here for people that have been waiting or that are going sometime soon.
It looks so fun. And I mean, I think the tough part is, there's some discussion about it because of the ride vehicles, and this, there's the size of the ride vehicles, how you get locked in, is it going to be accessible? I think the one nice thing about Tron that Flight of Passage and Animal Kingdom doesn't have is they have modified ride vehicles. And so if you're not able to necessarily fit into the ride vehicle, then there are modified, seats that you can sit in as well. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But it seems like it's all about the calf size.
That's what
I've
I
got
was just gonna
ginormous
say.
calves.
Is like
Yes.
I've seen now so many videos, in the last couple of days, read so many comments
Right.
about it. That's why I'm excited for my daughters who
Yeah.
are both cast members and will be incredibly honest with me. Of course, they're both tiny little size, so that's not a problem for them. But just to get like a real life perspective. Not that these people aren't real life, and obviously, we now know people who have been on it, but it does seem like it's all about calf size, or like your calf size and how your legs fit.
How long your legs are, yeah.
Yeah, where the pegs are. There are, I guess, test seats. I think they're the same ones that were, out front of where they were building it. Gosh, I don't even remember when that was. Forever.
February 20, I was in one of those seats.
I thought it was the end of 2019 for us in December. So
no, 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. That's what I meant.
Yeah, literally, yeah, I knew what you meant.
Princess.
Literally, though, feels like a decade ago. But so there are test seats in there. Of course, cast members are also, getting trained with these previews. So I do feel like through cast previews and then annual pass previews and all of that, like, people understand like better, like really like how it works and everything. But it is great that they do have some cars that have the accessible seats for people, not just of a certain size, but also that need other accommodations, that have that don't have that on for Flight of Passage.
Right. Yeah. It looks fun. It looks short though, so I'm not sold.
Short. I guess, let alone like the launch, like I don't want to run too much, but it looks like the launch is the outside part. So I'm like, wow, that's I don't know. Like I'm excited to ride it though, but I don't know.
I'll let all y'all ride it and I'll just go on Guardians over and over. You'll find me not fun.
Have you gotten all 6 songs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if there was one you hadn't gotten yet. Well, and then you got the holiday song, so
I haven't done the holiday yet, though.
Oh, you didn't get the holiday song.
There. No, they didn't have it on when we were there in November.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, okay, they got that.
No.
I didn't do it.
But I mean, Tron looks gorgeous. It looks
does.
like
I want to ride it at night, like for sure. I want, my first time to ride it to be at night. But I guess I'll probably get whatever I get and be happy about it. But
I know it.
Yeah,
it's just about time. I mean, it's been 5 years.
Yeah. So both my daughters got to all the cast members that were part of Magic Kingdom as they started putting the first beam up had the opportunity to go over and sign their name on this beam, whatever the beam happens to be. And both my daughters were at the Magic Kingdom at that time, so they both have their signatures on it. And that was like 5.5 years ago or something like that, so literally it feels like it's been being built like forever. It was exciting to be on the train. At Christmas time, we happened to be there. So we were in Magic Kingdom and they were testing it, and we were back in Fantasyland as it had just gone through. And so we were taking pictures, and My youngest was very upset, probably my husband too, on that day. We're very upset that it wasn't open yet. And I was like, we're still here, a few more days, like, who knows? And that cast member was adorable that we were talking to. He was like, you just never know. We don't have a date, wink, wink, and I'm like, but of course he couldn't come out and say it was the very next day that Cass got to write it. My oldest daughter happened to get picked. So it was a lottery of cast members that were working the Magic Kingdom that day as to who got to go write it for its first reopening run. And my oldest daughter got to do that. So that was super exciting. She was like, of course, my husband's like, is it opening? And I was like, I know nothing. She says it is, but she doesn't know when. And it opened, of course, the very next day. And we were there 2 days later. So getting to ride that again, it felt like it literally hadn't been open in forever. So it was neat to get to experience that. And of course, it goes right under Tron's ramp. So that was kind of neat to see it even more up close, so the excitement has been building, long enough. Come on, April 4th.
Yeah, and this might be the longest we've ever gone on a live and not mentioned park pass reservations. So I think with, again, that should be a standard thing if some of you you're doing your repeat trips since the pandemic and this has been instituted. But if you're planning a trip, those park pass reservations are key. And especially when big attractions open, there are people who are just going to go to Magic Kingdom to see X or just Epcot to see X. Like that is just reality. And so we're not seeing as many issues as we were in the pandemic, but you just want to make sure you purchase those tickets, you make that park pass. You don't know what I'm talking about. We have great tutorials on our YouTube channel as well. But as of right now, that is still required by Disney World. You have a ticket, but you also have a park pass reservation.
And Disneyland.
So I think
Disney World,
as that
Disneyland,
date gets closer, because as we know, Disney can change that date. And if they're already doing previews and things like that, you just want to be prepared for that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Great point. Yeah. And I mean, they've been overwhelmingly open, which has been
They
really
have.
nice. But
Yes.
I feel like some of my clients have gotten complacent and I'm like, you're going unless
I know, that's my worry.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Please.
I was pricing for a client today who wants to go in June. And I looked at the calendar, I was like, when was the calendar all green? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But it does not mean that I can't change on a dime. So just do it and you have it and you're good to
do
go.
it. Yeah. Because you can always change them as long as there's park availability, of course. I mean, not that I suggested, but I have even changed ours like day of, gone, well, it's just the two of us. We decided let's do this first. And of course, because you have to, if you have park hopping abilities on your tickets, you have to enter the park that you have park reservations for before you can hop anyplace else. So currently for Disney World, park hopping is 2 p.m. or after. Disneyland, we're still 1 p.m. and after, right?
Yeah, but it's changing to 11 soon.
11 soon.
Ooh.
They've just said soon.
Yeah.
We don't know what soon is. Though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
so
great. And at
definitely
Disneyland, you don't have to enter the first park first. If it's later, you can just go wherever as long as you had a reservation. Disney World, you have to enter your first park first. So,
Mm.
So speaking of things that are coming and going at Disney World, the 50th anniversary is, of course, ending March 31st. So at the end of March, it will be no more. And going with it a couple of days later will be the fireworks at the Magic Kingdom, the Enchantment Show, and at not Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Harmonious is going, and that kind of makes me sad.
I love Harmonious. I loved it. I thought it was great.
But coming back at Epcot is Epcot Forever, which I actually never saw because it was only there for a total of 9 months. It was there for
it's an in-between show. So there's something else coming after it, but I'm happy about Happily Ever After.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that. But what Jen just said, returning to the Magic Kingdom is Happily Ever After. So for fan favorites like me, wishes will hold the number one heart, spot in my heart because I raised my children on it. But Happily Ever After makes me cry no matter how many times I watch it. So I am thrilled that it's coming back for at least some amount of time.
Yeah, I know, I am too. I'm a little bit sad that, on this last trip, I was only there for a couple of days. It was focused on doing some work and then also seeing friends. So I didn't get to see Harmonious one last time. So, but I'm really excited for Happily Ever After to come back. And, we've got our nice long family trip booked for August. So excited to see that in August. But I do love Harmonious. I wish I had the opportunity to see it one more time, but I guess I've got video. So I can see it as many times as I want because we've got video of that.
Yeah. So, and they come back on the 3rd. They both back on the 3rd.
The 2nd.
One's on the 2nd, one's on the 3rd, right? So Epcot Forever on the 2nd.
I'm not even
Happily
sure
Ever
now.
After on the 3rd. I think they're not on the same night, but it's one or the other. I know this only because I was trying to plan out my trip and I was like, okay, so I could see Harmonious for the last time here. I could see Enchantment for the last time here. I could then go back and do Epcot Forever.
3rd. Disney Enchantment. Now Enchantment is through April 2nd. And then Happily Ever After starts on the 3rd.
Okay. I knew it was one way or another because I knew I could get it all into like a 4K trip. So we'll see if that happens, of course. If so, I'll take you all along with us on that insanity. We've got it. We've got Park Pass reservation.
I'll be in Disneyland Paris, so I'm gonna have to follow along with you and do our own thing.
Excited for that. Of course, it will also be Flower and Garden Festival. Starts March 1st through right after the 4th of July on the 5th. And it is my second favorite Epcot festival. I have a hard time saying that because honestly, my favorite Epcot festival is whatever Epcot festival is currently going on.
That is so true. Yes.
I know. I got to see so many of the bands too. I mean, I love the Garden Rock series. I love the Eat to the Beat series. Like Epcot does, it's more than just food, but they've gotten really good at the food pieces. Flower and Garden obviously is gorgeous. They've got butterfly gardens and things like that, but then they also have the Garden Rocks concert series. And then in the fall, they've got the Eat to the Beat concert series. And then during Festival of the Arts, it's the Disney on Broadway concert series. So they've got all of these folks coming in, but I was looking at the list and they've got like Daughtry and Smash Mouth, the Pointer Sisters, Starship, Flock of Seagulls.
I feel like it was just made for us.
My 80-year-old Rick Springfield is coming.
Okay, so he was playing before we were all together for our Universal trip last year, and I was over at Epcot with my daughters. We did a capture the moment photo session, and he was playing, and so he's playing in the American Gardens theater, and we did our capture the moment next door in Italy, and one like American Adventure was just jam-packed, and that's where you check in at for the capture the moment. And then so we decided to go over to Italy to take our pictures, and you could just hear like everybody singing. So I'm singing along, and our girls are like, of course, like super embarrassed, not that I care, but it was hilarious. So he obviously is still super popular.
Yes.
It was jam-packed crowded for like each one of his shows. Yeah. So I highly suggest if you're going to do that one, either do one of the dining plans that had this is for sure seating, or get in line long before the show you're planning on seeing.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many great options. Cool and the Gang is going to be there. I mean, man,
I would just be camped out every night.
Right.
But they do such a nice job
on its own, let alone like when you add the festivals in. So yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And so if you're unfamiliar with, these festival concerts, they're 3 times a night. They're about 30-minute concerts. So they're not, full long concerts, but they're open air. And so, they have dining package seating. So you've got the opportunity to have guaranteed seating, or you can wait in line. Sometimes with some of them, you can just walk up 98 degrees. We just walked up. And, again, that was a ton of fun. I wasn't expecting that. And we were trying to do too much during that trip. But once I realized we hit it at the right time, I was like, here we go. So, yeah, Epcot's my place. I love Epcot. It's a great park. But they do so much throughout the year for everybody. So there's something for all ages, I think, all year long. But yeah, we've got Flower and Garden starting really soon here.
Well, we should chat a little Run Disney news as well. For those who like running competitively.
So Run Disney is returning to Disneyland in January of 2024, and spots for that go on sale and will be sold out on Tuesday. My husband and my youngest daughter are planning on registering and running. I will just go for moral support this time. So
oh, come on, you can do the 5K. Right?
I know I might, but we'll see. Probably not.
It's going to be hard. That registration.
I'm going to be so excited for them for Disneyland, but then they're planning on doing the Coast to Coast Challenge, which means that you run a race at Disneyland and one at Disney World, since there is only going to be one at Disneyland for 2024
so far. Yeah.
So you have to get into that one, and then there obviously are multiple ones at Walt Disney World. They're planning on doing Wine and Dine because it will be on my younger daughter's 30th birthday. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do the 10K. I don't know if I have another half marathon in me. I don't know.
The races fill up so fast, but that Disneyland race, it's going to be seconds. I think the really hard part about Run Disney registrations is that they have this queue. Supposedly it opens at a certain time. I want to say it's usually like 11 or noon Eastern time is what's posted, but oftentimes the queue opens much earlier than that. So you get into the queue, but what you don't understand is it's not a queue, it's a lottery queue. So if you can log in on a couple of devices, you're probably, your odds are probably better to potentially get in. The problem is everyone's doing that. And so it can make it a real pain, but some of these races they're awesome. Not some of them, all of them are awesome. Run Disney does an amazing job if you're going for the spectacle of it and not necessarily for your personal record. I think personally, in most cases, Run Disney races are not for the person trying to hit their personal best unless it's their first race. But they're fun.
They're so fun. And let alone like most races, having done other ones outside of Run Disney, right? The views aren't as great. That's for sure. You're just packing road miles on.
Right,
so
right.
The fact that you get to run through certain parks or through the castle, or there's characters along the way, like how fun because I've done it. So like how fun, as long as you enjoy that thing. Actually, I can't say that I enjoy it either. So there's times that I do, usually as I'm started, I'm like, this is in the end. It's that part in the middle that's questionable.
Right. But getting started, they have bands, there's music, there's entertainment. So you've got something going on. The whole race will have music and entertainment. There are little snippets here or there that aren't maybe as interesting for the half marathon, but usually the 10Ks are pretty good. The 5Ks, there's something going on the whole time. And then all of a sudden you're done and you've got these amazing medals and you get to wear them all day. Because unlike every other race that I've ever run anywhere else, runners are like, I'm done. I've got my medal. Thanks. We're going. Right. But Disney, you wear it for like the next week because you're like, I did
people
it.
Walking around going,
Look what I did. Then I walked 50,000 miles the next day. No.
Literally. Yeah.
But still easily. 20,000 steps after doing what? Maybe 40 on a race day is you just keep going. it's a real, it's
the last time we did a half at Disney, my steps for the entire day were almost a full marathon. I was like, I had a quarter of a mile left and I would have been at enough steps that it would have been a full marathon. So what does that say?
Yeah. And they're great aspirational races, partly because I've never been a fast runner. I've been middle of the pack or back of the pack always. And Disney does a great job with race support throughout. If you're a slower runner, if you're like a 13-minute, mile runner doing half marathons and you are in other parts of the country, it's not unusual for race, support stations to be closed up if you're getting closer to the end of the races. And that's just the way it is. And it stinks, and it shouldn't if they're letting you, finish within that time frame. But run Disney races throughout, the race support is there until the last person finishes. And so, and they do have, you will get swept if you are beyond the 16-minute per mile pace, but 16-minute per mile pace, everyone who finishes within that pace has the support. And if you're swept, you still have support. You've got people encouraging you, letting you know that you did a great job. You trained for a hard thing. Anything can happen. You still get your medal. You're still shuttled to the finish, and you get to celebrate your accomplishments as well. So I've got a cat yelling at me because I'm not playing fetch.
I was holding a cat.
But-
I was like petting the cat. Yeah.
Right. But run Disney races, I can't recommend them more highly. They're wonderful. It's a great experience.
It's just really fun. So we're approaching our hours. We just wanted to at least hit a few more things. So Universal, we all book Universal. We love Universal. Sometimes harder because there's just so many festivals or things like that. But we are approaching Mardi Gras season. And so
it started already. Yeah.
I know, which is so fun. And Jennifer, we all got to be there last year. And telling you, it was like a highlight of 2022 was being in a parade.
I have a friend who hadn't been there at this time of year in a long time, since, pre-pandemic. And she's like, wait a minute. I didn't realize it was this whole food festival too. She's like, it's like Epcot only.
It kind of was. I wish we'd had more time because we could only get to so much. And the park footprint is smaller, but there was so much good food and drinks. And what I love about Universal too is just because of the way it is. So like there's the backlots, or there's like the street scenes, and like the fact that you could I feel like you could sit there for hours and just watch what's happening and eat the food. So Universal always has some great deals. Recently released buy 3 days, get 2 free.
2 days free. Yeah. Right.
I'm sorry, 5 days for the price of 3. Like, we love Disney, but you're never going to see that at Disney. So if you're thinking about Universal, or you're thinking, oh, are we on the cusp of 2 or 3 days? We can help you book that. Great on property options. A lot of our clients will do both. We will advise you on if that makes the most sense and how to do that. But
and where to stay and Yeah,
Universal has some great options for families too.
I just this morning upgraded a family who decided they wanted to stay a little bit longer at Universal. They had 2-day 3 park tickets. They booked a while ago, decided they wanted, 3 or 4 days, weren't quite sure. It was literally $20 more per person to go from that 2-day 3 park ticket to now the 5-day ticket.
Insane.
So if you booked a while ago, didn't book with, a travel planner, look at your package, figure out what's going on there. But so, they already knew it worked better for their schedule. They wanted to have a little bit of longer trip, wanted to explore some other things. $20 more to add 3 more days.
That's crazy.
Yeah, incredible. Incredible.
Plus, then you have time for Volcano Bay, which of course we are all huge fans of. Right. So definitely check the prices. It surprises me when the 3 parks is not that much more than what they're looking at for the 2 parks. Gives you that option of exploring over there.
Right. And that's the advantage, obviously, of booking with a travel planner. We're going to keep looking for you. That's just what we do. So we're going to try to save you the most amount or tell us what you're thinking, and we can advise you best. But great options either to do both Disney and Universal, or to do one or the other, and how you can do that best. So we love that challenge of, here's your situation. How can we best help you? So.
And every family is different. So some are like, at first they're like, I want to do Disney. We love roller coasters. And I can say, well, there are some but I mean, it's a different world. Universal is just heavier with the thrill rides. There are thrill rides
Right.
at Disney
Right.
as well. Does it make sense to do both? You know, and sometimes they're like, you know what, we're just going to do Disney this time. And they come back and do just Universal. And a lot of folks go back and forth or do one day at Universal. Though, I mean, I have to admit, you don't get the best bang for your buck with the one day. You get much more bang for your buck when you're adding multiple days at Universal and at Disney, you know, for sure. At Disney too.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Yeah. So definitely check that out. It's a lot of fun. But if you're looking for a summer trip, again, you know, Volcano Bay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's true. It's true. And then just a brief comment on Disney Cruise Line. Obviously, I'd live on a cruise ship if I could, but raising 3 children, so I guess we'll have to wait. But right now, Disney is offering 50% off of the deposit. That doesn't mean the whole deposit is that way. It means we only have to pay 50% now, and then pay the rest later. So that's a great option if you're even thinking about the possibility of a Disney cruise. You're putting less down to hold that vacation. Disney Cruise books out a lot further than Disney and Universal. So again, if you're thinking about a cruise and don't know which direction to go in, we can help you with that. But so many options out there right now. I was just pricing because I'm, you know, planning a few things this year. So we were looking at different options, and there's still a lot of great options out there. Even I was looking at spring break and then late summer and then October. So we would love to help advise you on that as well.
Yeah. And I feel like I've had a lot of spring break 2024 families
Yeah.
coming around looking at cruises.
Good for those
And that's
people planning
great.
out so early.
Yeah,
That's me. That's me. So maybe I
That
bring
is you. That is not me. That's
right.
But I feel like if you're looking to pay for something over a long period of
Yeah,
time, so many people are
absolutely.
like, how does this work? I'm like, how do you want it to work? You've got your deposit, you've got your final payment date. It's up to you. I've got some people who are like, okay, every Friday, I want you to, you know, put down $200 on this card, you know, toward my trip. Don't want to think about it. Just do it. Send me the receipt. We're good to go.
Yeah.
And so I'll do that for them. And then they're paid off, you know? So it's however works for you, you know, what you want for your trips, but it's not for cruises, not too early to start planning for spring break 2024 already. And then you get your pick of your staterooms and where you want to be and sailings. You know, there's a lot that sells out really early in advance for popular dates for spring break and things like that. So
Christy, when are you going? Soon?
So we leave, our cruise is in like 138 days. So we leave in like 136 days to there ahead of time. But Jen
who's
leaves
coming?
in what? Like 2 weeks.
let me see. What's my
Yeah.
countdown?
when's
I don't
yours?
know.
I have none right now. So.
I got my luggage tag, so it's got to be soon, right?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I mean, like you said, I could live there like forever.
Okay.
We will be on the Fantasy for a week. We're doing the US and British Virgin Islands, and they have been on our bucket list the last couple of years. So we're super excited to do that. Will just be my husband and I, because we are celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. Seems much longer. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I think I'm 15 days. I don't even know. I'm looking for the app. and it's
I
not
thought
coming
you were
up.
like
So-
2 weeks.
It's
Oh,
like
your phone just died.
soon. How do you not know?
Oh,
I
worry
didn't-
about it next week.
If you're new here, Jennifer's always on a trip. Literally, she
Well,
does
in the
something
winter.
on every call.
In the
Yeah.
winter, because
Right.
in Minnesota, winter is awful. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, okay, so
No.
there's some Minnesotans who like this crap. Not me. So I try to travel as much as possible during the awful months, and this is one of them. So, yeah,
It's true.
22nd.
It's true.
22nd is when we fly out. So
And you're headed where this time? Which ship are you on this
Yeah.
time?
it'll be on the Dream out of Miami. So it's been a while. We haven't been on the Dream since 2019. So we've been on the Magic, we've been on the Wish, we haven't been on the Dream again in a while. So
Fun.
I'm so excited to see the Beauty and the Beast show, and I don't know, the spa.
Well, and of
I love
course,
the spa.
as we all travel, we share on our group. So if you aren't part of it yet, definitely stop by and join. Because soon, well, I mean, both of you were gone was that last week? Last week-ish? The week
Yeah,
before,
Week
maybe.
and a half.
Been traveling a fair amount. Yeah.
Traveling lots, never disconnected. I feel like I haven't taken a break, January was such a busy month for folks, planning travel, that it was nonstop between doing research and spending time with friends and family and Disney 100 and then booking trips. It's like, I need to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
I actually ran away this past weekend to my friend. She lives in Northeast Texas, where I'm in Southeast Texas, but she lives in the middle of nowhere. So she barely has any kind of internet signal whatsoever. Like if you stand in their driveway, you might get 2 bars. Otherwise, it's basically like a 1 bar to no bars kind of thing. So I was only there for like 48 hours, maybe 50 hours, like something like that. But it was nice to super disconnect and just do a bunch of nothing. That was nice.
So true.
Yeah.
So nice. Yeah. So gosh, and there's so much more too. I mean, been talking to Adventures by Disney, National Geographic Expeditions. I mean, there's so many cool things out there happening right now. So can't wait to share more about that with you in the future.
I think we are over our hour.
We covered a lot though. Yeah, we did.
Easy to do.
As usual.
Gosh, well, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Again, Wizarding Wands Mickey Ears is our Facebook group, our Facebook page. We are on Instagram, TikTok, a little bit, but working on it. And then, I've got plenty of videos to upload every Friday. So we've got a lot coming, but hopefully a walk around the Grand Californian will be ready to go this Friday. So subscribe, share with your friends, and reach out to us if you need help at all planning Disney Universal, Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, National Geographic Adventures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You didn't say Alani. I'm
Alani!
I
forgot. Look at you. You were listening.
I have to call them tomorrow to book a spa experience for someone. They want this wonderful massage. So awesome. So I'll be calling Alani tomorrow and feeling warm just by virtue of speaking.
Sounds good.
Ready. Bring on summer.
That's right. Well, thanks so much for joining us.